Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into a source that's really resonated with a lot of people trying to make changes. James Clear's work on atomic habits. Our mission really is to unpack these foundational structures he talks about, the systems that shape where you end up, and maybe shift focus away from just pure motivation.
Yeah, and it's important to say up front, Clear is pushing back against something pretty ingrained. We tend to think progress should be, well, obvious and fast.
Oh, absolutely. You start something new, you want to see a result like yesterday, a diet, a workout plan.
And when that instant feedback isn't there, people often just, well, stop.
Right. They quit.
And that quitting point is exactly where his ice cube metaphor comes in. It's quite clever, actually. Think about an ice cube in a room that's slowly warming up.
Okay.
It goes from, say, 25 degrees Fahrenheit up to 28, 30, 31 degrees. And visually, nothing.
Yeah.
The ice is still just ice. All that energy going in seems wasted.
Yeah, it feels completely pointless at that stage, doesn't it?
It really does. But then, the moment it hits 32 degrees, boom, it starts melting. Instantly. That visible change wasn't just about that last degree.
Ah, right. It was everything that came before, all those tiny increases.
Exactly. The cumulative effect. All that stored work.
So that period where nothing seems to change, that 25 to 31 degrees, that's what he calls the plateau of latent potential. That's the danger zone for quitting.
Precisely. It's where the effort feels invisible, even though it's building up potential energy, so to speak. You think it's not working, but the change is just latent.
Which brings us to the name itself, atomic habit. It's not about a huge explosion, is it?
No, not in the nuclear sense anyway. He means atomic like an atom, the smallest fundamental building block of matter.
So an atomic habit is like this tiny action, seems insignificant in the moment.
Yeah, totally insignificant on its own. But it becomes the base unit for building something much bigger, a whole new routine, maybe even a shift in who you see yourself as.
And this whole philosophy, it came out of a really rough time for him personally, didn't it?
It did. A really traumatic event. As a teenager, playing baseball, a bat slipped, hit him right in the face. Terrible injury. Skull fracture, coma. Just devastating.
Wow. His whole life must have felt like it just stopped.
Completely derailed. And getting back wasn't about some huge vague goal like become a star athlete again. That probably felt impossible.
So what did he do?
He focused on incredibly small, manageable habits. Almost therapeutic things. Getting enough sleep. Keeping his dorm room tidy. Studying consistently. Tiny bits of order.
Using consistency to rebuild structure from chaos.
Exactly. Those tiny, consistent actions were his lifeline. And years later, the foundation for the whole book.
That context really lands the core idea, doesn't it? This shift away from just focusing on goals towards focusing on systems. We're all told set big goals constantly.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
But Clear points out, well, if goals were the secret sauce, wouldn't success be way more common? Everyone has goals.
Yeah, the results don't always match the ambition, do they? And that's where the distinction between goals and systems is critical. A goal is your target, your desired outcome, the finish line.
Okay, like running a marathon.
Right. But the system, that's the process, your training schedule, your diet, your stretching routine. It's the daily actions that actually get you there.
And this is where that powerful quote comes in. You do not rise to the level of your goals.
You fall to the level of your systems, yeah. It really reframes things.
But hold on, don't you need goals to even know what system to build? Like, you need the marathon goal to design the training system, right?
That's a fair point. And Clear doesn't say goals are totally useless. They're good for setting direction, for deciding where you want to go.
Okay, so for the planning part.
Exactly. But the system is what actually drives the progress. It's what determines if you even get to the destination. Focusing only on the goal can make you miss the crucial steps right in front of you.
So why are systems ultimately more effective than just aiming for a goal? There were a few key reasons.
Yeah, three main ones stick out. First, goals alone don't separate winners from losers because often they have the exact same goal.
Right. Every team wants to win the championship.
Every startup wants to be a unicorn. The difference isn't the goal, it's the execution engine. The system of practice, innovation, habits.
Okay, that makes sense. What's the second reason?
The second is more psychological. Goals are kind of temporary finish lines. What happens after you achieve the goal? Say you hit that target weight for an event.
Uh-oh. If you haven't changed the underlying habits...
You probably slide right back. The system that got you overweight is still running in the background. Goals imply an end point. Systems are about continuous refinement.
Like a loop, not a finish line.
And the third reason connects back to that ice cube idea. Focusing on the system, the daily practice, the small reps lets you find satisfaction in the process itself.
Not just waiting for the big payoff at the end.
Exactly. That helps you stick with it long enough to get through that plateau of latent potential. You learn to enjoy the journey, not just dream about the destination.
Okay, so if we shift from outcomes and goals to systems and processes, what's the ultimate point of it all, according to Clear?
The ultimate point, he argues, is identity change. That's the real transformation.
Identity change, that feels deeper than just building a habit. Why is that more powerful?
Well, think about it in layers. Clear uses this model of 3 circles. On the outside, you have outcomes, the results you get.
Okay.
In the middle, you have processes, the habits and systems you follow.
Right.
But right at the core, the innermost circle is identity, what you fundamentally believe about yourself.
And usually we try to change from the outside, right? Force a new behavior and hope the belief catches up.
Exactly. I will go to the gym.
Yeah.
But if deep down you still see yourself as someone who isn't active or maybe dislikes exercise,
You're constantly fighting yourself. It's exhausting.
totally exhausting. It burns through willpower. Lasting change, Clear argues, needs to start from the inside out. You change the belief first, or at least alongside the action.
Which is where the vote metaphor comes in. I like that one.
Yeah, it's very practical. Every action you take, no matter how small, is like casting a vote for the type of person you want to be.
So, like, flossing one tooth isn't just about clean teeth.
It's a vote for being someone who takes care of their health. Reading one page is a vote for being a learner. Each action reinforces a potential identity.
It shifts the focus from the immediate result, which might be tiny, to accumulating evidence for who you're becoming.
And the smoker test anecdote really highlights the end point of that.
Right, the 2 different responses.
Yeah. Someone offers a cigarette, person 1 says, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. What does that signal?
They still see themselves as a smoker, just one who's resisting right now. There's internal conflict.
Exactly. But person 2 says, no thanks, I don't smoke.
Completely different. The identity is shifted. It's not about willpower anymore. It's just who they are. No conflict.
Zero conflict. The decision aligns perfectly with their self-image. So the path to identity-based habits is kind of 2 steps. First, decide who you want to be. What identity are you aiming for? Second, start proving it to yourself with really small wins, tiny votes.
So if you want to be, say, a writer, don't aim for the novel today.
No way. Just write one sentence. That single sentence is your first piece of evidence, your first vote for I am a writer.
Okay, so identity is the ultimate goal, the why. But how do we actually engineer these new habits? What's the practical framework?
That brings us to the 4 laws of behavior change. And underpinning those laws is understanding the basic mechanics of a habit. It's not random.
The habit loop.
Right. Cue, craving, response, reward. That neurological sequence runs automatically for established habits. The 4 laws are designed to hijack that loop.
Got it. So, law 1.
Law 1, make it obvious. This targets the cue. If you don't notice the prompt for the habit, you can't act on it. So you need to make the cues for good habits really visible.
Like laying out your gym clothes the night before. The clothes become the cue.
Exactly. Or using what he calls an implementation intention. Not just, I'll meditate, but when I pour my first cup of coffee, cue. I will meditate for 1 minute, response, at the kitchen table. Location. Super specific.
Okay, makes sense. Law 2.
Law 2. Make it attractive. This works on the craving part of the loop. We're often more motivated by the anticipation of reward than the reward itself.
So how do you make a potentially boring habit attractive?
One powerful way is temptation bundling. You pair something you want to do with something you need to do.
Like only listening to your favorite podcast.
While you're doing the dishes or exercising,
Yeah.
you link the pleasure you crave with the habit you're trying to build. The desire for the podcast pulls the exercise along with it.
Clever. Okay, law 3.
Law 3. Make it easy. This is about the response, the actual doing of the habit. It taps into our natural tendency to follow the path of least resistance. Reduce friction.
So, simplify. Make it almost ridiculously easy to start.
Totally. Momentum is key, especially early on. If learning guitar means digging it out of the closet, tuning it, finding the pick, that's a lot of friction.
But if it's just sitting there on a stand, ready to go.
Much easier to just pick it up for 2 minutes. Minimize the effort required to start.
And finally, law 4.
Law 4. Make it satisfying. This closes the loop by focusing on the reward. Our brains are wired to repeat actions that give immediate pleasure or satisfaction.
Which is a problem for good habits, right? The reward, like better health, is often way down the road. Bad habits usually have instant gratification.
Precisely. So you need to find a way to give yourself an immediate reward for the good habit, even if it's symbolic.
Like using a habit tracker, seeing that unbroken chain of X's on the calendar.
Exactly. Or moving a paperclip from one jar to another after you complete the habit. It provides that little dopamine hit of accomplishment right away, reinforcing the loop.
And these laws work in reverse, too, for breaking bad habits.
Absolutely. Just invert them, make it invisible, hide the cues, make it unattractive, focus on the downsides, make it difficult, add friction, and make it unsatisfying, introduce an immediate cost.
Let's talk about applying these. Strategy 1 seems really powerful. Environment design, it hits Law 1, obvious, and Law 3, easy.
Yeah, your environment is constantly shaping your behavior, whether you realize it or not. It's like a silent architect sending cues.
If junk food is always on the counter.
Your brain constantly gets the cue to eat it. Willpower is finite. It's easier to control your environment than to constantly resist temptation. Designed for laziness, basically. Make the good choice the easy choice.
And the idea of context is important too, right? Assigning specific habits to specific places. Why is working in bed such a bad idea from this perspective?
Because your brain builds associations. If your bed becomes the place for work, emails, and stress, it stops being a strong cue for sleep. You dilute the cue. You want your reading chair to scream reading, your desk to scream work.
Keep the contexts clean. And adding friction to bad habits, that's the inaccessibility principle.
Sometimes called the 20-second rule. If you want to watch less TV, don't just leave the remote on the armrest. Unplug the TV after use or put the remote in a drawer in another room.
Just adding that little bit of effort.
That 20 seconds of extra effort can be enough to break the automatic script and make you pause and think, do I really want to do this? Same for putting your phone across the room at night instead of on the nightstand.
Okay, strategy 2 really hammers Law 3, make it easy. The 2-minute rule. You mentioned the biggest hurdle is just starting.
It really is. This rule sounds almost too simple, especially for ambitious people.
Yeah.
But the idea is, when you start a new habit, scale it down so it takes less than 2 minutes to do.
So not read for an hour, but maybe read 1 page.
Or even just open the book. Not go for a 3-mile run, but put on my running shoes.
You're optimizing for the starting ritual and not the full performance.
Exactly. You make the entry point so easy, it's almost impossible not to do it. You build the habit of showing up first. Once the shoes are on, doing more often feels natural. It builds momentum.
Right, the momentum often carries you forward. Okay, and the final strategy area, using social power and accountability. This connects to laws 2, attractive, and 4, satisfying. It's not just a solo journey.
Definitely not. We're social creatures. Clear points out we tend to imitate the habits of 3 groups. People close to us, friends, family, the majority, the tribe, and the powerful, those we admire.
So the fastest way to make a habit feel normal and attractive is to join a group where that habit is the norm.
Precisely. Want to exercise more? Join a running club or a gym class? Want to write? Join a writing group? Suddenly the desired behavior is tied to belonging and social connection, which is a huge motivator.
It makes the habit attractive because it helps you fit in.
And beyond just joining groups, there's direct accountability, like an accountability contract.
What does that involve?
It could be simple. Telling a friend your goal and having them check in. Or more formal, like having a consequence, maybe paying them money if you skip a planned workout. It introduces a social cost or an immediate penalty for inaction, making the habit more satisfying to complete by avoiding the cost.
Okay, that makes sense. So wrapping this up, the big shift is away from chasing goals and outcomes.
Towards building reliable systems.
And realizing the ultimate aim isn't just the result, but becoming the kind of person who naturally does those things, the identity shift.
Yeah, and remembering the power of consistency over intensity. That 1% improvement idea sounds small, insignificant day to day.
Like that ice cube just sitting there.
Exactly. But compounded over a year, that 1% daily improvement makes you nearly 37 times better. The math of compounding is relentless once the system is running.
It's a really profound way to think about change.
It is, and remember Clear's point. Your outcomes are a lagging measure of your habits. What you see in your life now is the result of the systems you've been running, consciously or unconsciously.
So a final thought for reflection then.
Yeah, let's connect it back to that idea of votes and identity. If every action is a vote for who you want to be, take a second right now. Think about your typical day.
Okay.
Can you identify one small, maybe automatic thing you do, a tiny habit, that's actually casting a vote for an identity you don't want anymore? Maybe checking social media before you even get out of bed is a vote for being reactive instead of intentional.
Or leaving that one dish by the sink is a vote for being someone who puts things off.
Could be anything small. Find that one cue. And just for today, using the inversion principle we talked about, how could you make that cue invisible?
Yeah.
Or make the action just a little bit harder. Don't try to fix it forever. Just tweak the environment for today. Be the architect, not just the inhabitant.